Hey, welcome to Mr. Kemp's Instrument Videos. I'm Mr. Kemp, and let's get started. A few things that I want to talk about that go for all of the instruments. First thing I just did a minute ago is I just came back from washing my hands. You don't want to pick up and start playing a nice instrument when your hands are all dirty, so be sure to wash your hands. Next thing I'm going to do is make sure that I have a nice place to sit, a nice hard chair. Maybe a kitchen chair or something like that. This is what you're going to want. You don't want to go to your bedroom and sit in your bed or sit on your couch and you'll be playing like this. Something soft like this, no good. Nice hard chair. When you sit down in your chair to play, you don't want to be sitting back here. You want to sit up nice and tall at the edge of your chair, 2 feet flat on the floor, ready to play. Okay? Another thing is you don't want the television set on in the background. Keep everything quiet and give yourself a nice place to work. All right, something you'll hear me say all year long. Music does not happen by magic. It takes hard work. We're going to be working very hard this year. We're going to have a lot of fun. And if you work hard this year, we will have fun. You'll make beautiful, beautiful, magical music. But nobody's going to wave a magic wand and say, poof, you suddenly know how to play an instrument. This will take hard work. Are you ready for it? All right, let's start having some fun, and let's get into our lesson, our first lesson for playing your instrument. All right, so we're ready to play the flute. All right, here I have my flute case ready to go, and most people feel, oh, it's such a small instrument, just put it on my lap and open it up. But no. First thing I'm going to tell you is how to even open up the case. We always, always, always open it up on the floor. That's going to be what I call rule number 1. First thing I ever taught you. In a few months from now, I'm going to ask you, hey, what's the first thing you ever learned on the flute? And you're going to say, oh, we always put our flute down on the floor. All right. Of course, we also make sure we have that nice hard chair we talked about earlier. We sit up tall. I'm at the edge of the chair, 2 feet flat on the floor. Okay? But back to the case. There are 2 things I want you to notice about this case. When you do it correctly, the handle is on the bottom of the case, and the latches are going to flip up. On most cases, your latches are going to flip up. If you have it the wrong way, now look, the handle's on the top of the case, and I'm going to flip the latches down. If I open this case up now, the flute is going to flop all over the place. No good. So make sure you have the flute in the correct way. The handle should be on the bottom, and your latches should be flipping upward. Now this case is going to be all set. I've got a few things in here. Oh, here's what's called a tuning rod. It's going to help us clean the flute later. You should have a cloth to go with it. I'm going to just put that aside for now. You have the body of the flute. That's the big long part. It's called the body. You have the tiniest part is called the foot joint. We'll see that later. But the most important part of our flute right now is called the head joint. And the head joint is all we're going to work on now. We're just going to take the head joint out. In fact, we're going to take the flute case and put it to the side for now. So here's our head joint. This is all we want to work with. We want to see, can we get a sound out of the head joint? We have something called our tone hole here. This is where the air is going to go. But unlike you might think, a lot of people think, oh, the air is you're just going to blow into the flute, into the tone hole. But no. If we just blow into the tone hole, we're not going to get the sound. The flute is a little similar to like a bottle. You might have a Coke bottle. Have you ever seen anybody go toot, 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 and they blow across the bottle? The air is going across the hole of the Coke bottle or whatever kind of bottle they have. Same thing with the flute. The air is going to go across the tone hole of the flute in order to make the sound. So sitting up nice and tall, I'm going to make the sound this way. Notice though when I go to play it, where the flute is pointing. The flute is pointing off to my right. See this hole here? This hole is pointing out to my right. When I get the whole flute put together, it's going to point to my right. If you're sitting there watching me with your flute, you need to be careful. You cannot be my mirror and pointing off that direction. Look at me if I turn around this way. You've got to double check. Make sure the flute is pointing to your right. Check your hands. Okay, this is my left, this is my right. Make sure that it's pointing to your right. Okay? Now, I see the round circle of the tone hole, and I want you to come up close to look at my lips because I'm going to show you something. If you come close, you can see the red part of my lip here, and then the white part of my face. Where that color changes, I'm going to call that the lip line. Now your color might be a little bit different than mine. Maybe you've got a darker tone, but either way there's going to be a difference in the color between your lip and your face. let's call that your lip line. That lip line is going to line up right at the very, very bottom part of the tone hole. So if I feel a tone hole kind of going right at my mouth, okay, just like I was going to blow air into the flute, I want to feel that lip line touch the bottom of the tone hole. And I'm going to roll it out this way, okay? Roll it out. That's the way I'm going to get the sound. Now, notice I'm still sitting up nice and tall. Here's one trick I want you to do, I want you to think about when it comes to how are you forming your mouth. If you feel your teeth, and count 1, 2, 3. Count number 1 is your 2 front teeth. And count 1, 2, 3. I hope you have all your teeth. If you have all your teeth, if you don't, you're just going to have to pretend. Okay? But 1, 2, 3. Those are your eye teeth. Kind of like your fangs or your eye teeth. Okay? I want you to kind of feel where those are. Actually feel them. 1, 2, 3. Alright, that's where they are. And kind of feel where the corners of your mouth are and those eye teeth. And when you form your lips to make the sound on the flute, I want you to think that the corners of your mouth are solid. They're solid right against your eye teeth. And notice, oh, what am I saying? Remember the recorder last year? I'm saying 2. I'm whispering 2, 2, 2 to get the right sound. Okay? So, corners solid to your eye teeth. Now, your whole lips can't be tight. If your whole lips are tight, it's not going to work either. My corners are solid, but watch the front part of my lip. The very center of my lips, the very center of my mouth is still kind of loose. So nice and solid here, and the front part of my mouth, the center of my mouth, is still kind of loose. Solid at the corners of your eye teeth, and that's still kind of loose. That's what I need. So you're going to be, you can be just normal, and then make that solid. Normal, and then make it solid to your eye teeth. That's what I need. Feel the tone hole against the lip line, roll it out, and we're looking for a nice solid tone. If you can get that, wow, you've got a great start on the flute. Most of you are not going to get that sound right away. You put it up to your lips, you're not going to get it right away. Be patient. Take your time. Really take the steps. Think that the air is going across the tone hole. I've got a little bullseye here. If I make a little bullseye, I'm going to aim for that bullseye. I'm going to think that the air is going right across and hitting my bullseye here. I'm thinking of the corner of my eye teeth. The corners of my lips are solid against the eye teeth. But the front of my mouth, the center of my mouth, it's not all tight, okay? So we'll try it one more time. In fact, I'll try it first. You try to echo after me. Here, lip line, feel it, roll it out, pointing to the right, that way's your right. You try it. Ready? Go. Alright, if you can do that, you're really on your way. Now, once you can do that, well, you can try a couple things. Try to get some rhythms. Try to do just like do's and do days. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, something like that. Really important, see how much of a long tone you can get with a nice solid sound. See if you can get 10 seconds. This is what I call the 10-second challenge. If you can get the 10-second challenge, you're going to be doing great. And you're not going to get this right away, but maybe try it day after day after day, and maybe in a couple weeks, maybe in a month, you might be able to do this. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, I don't know if I can do the 10-second challenge. Oh, almost. See if you can do the 10-second challenge. It's not easy. Sit up tall, take a nice breath, and see if you can get that. All right. A couple little things you can experiment. You can play around with your mouthpiece, and you can try to get different sounds. Watch a little secret I'm going to do. I learned this from Mrs. Palazonis. All right. Getting a nice sound. If I take just my little finger here, or your fingers are small enough, you could probably use your big finger. Doesn't sound perfect, but you could tell. What was it? Hot cross buns, right? Yeah, you could experiment with that once you're getting a good sound. Most important thing though is working on, feel that lip line, roll it out, keep the lips solid to your eye teeth, keep it nice and loose in the center of your mouth, and saying two, two, two. That's the most important thing you need to be able to work on. Work on a nice solid long tone. Try that 10-second challenge. If you can do that, you'll be doing great. Once you're good at that, if you want to experiment a little with that trick, you can try that a little bit. Next time, we'll work on putting the whole flute together. All right, nice job. Okay, so you've been working hard. You're trying to get that nice sound with the tone hole and just the head joint of your flute. You point it off to the right. You keep the corners of your mouth solid against your eye teeth. You keep the center a little bit looser. You touch your lip line to the bottom part of the tone hole, and you've been practicing getting a nice sound with t, t, t. Once you can do that, we're ready to put together the whole flute. In fact, we'll put together the whole flute today. We have 2 more pieces. Again, we're going to keep it on the floor, and we're going to take the next part out. Is the long part, the body of the flute. All right? Lots of keys on the flute. Wow, and every one of these keys is very, very delicate, very, very light metal. This metal will bend easily. These keys will bend easily. Once the keys bend even the tiniest, tiniest bit, your flute will not play right. You'll have everything put together perfectly, you'll be playing perfectly, and your flute will not play correctly if you bend any keys at all. So we've got to always be so, so careful not to bend the keys. So how are we going to put these 2 pieces together without bending the keys? Well, I know that this has to go into here. This is the round solid part here, not the part that has keys almost all the way to the end. This part isn't going to fit, okay? So if we put it on here, well, look at this. I can actually grab a hold of this piece here. This is where I can hold the flute, where I'm not going to bend any keys. I'm going to be so careful. Even with that, I'm going to be careful. I'll hold this, and I'm going to have a twisting motion this way, and bring it so close, kind of like you're eyeing, you're threading through the eye of a needle. I'm going to put it so close, and when it's together, we're going to just twist, 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 back and forth, pushing it together. Okay? Now, should it be there? Should I turn the tone hole that way? Should I turn the tone hole that way? Where should the tone hole be? Well, here's where we're going to look down the whole length of the flute. And I want you to see if you can see this. And you're going to look up the keys to see if the tone hole is lined up in the center of the keys. I'm going to do it this way, right to you, and then I'll show you what I mean. See if you can see up the tone hole. Up the keys, right at the tone hole. Those should be lined up in the center. Okay? The tone hole should be lined up in the center of the keys. Alright? Now the flute is ready to be played even like this. But we're not going to stop there. You can try that and see if you can get a sound with just the body and the head joint. But we're going to put together the rest of the flute. We're going to get the foot joint. The smallest part is the foot joint. Again, we're going to keep our case out of the way, so it's not in our way. And wow, more keys on the foot joint. Now what am I going to do? Well, this part of the flute I can still hold by that same spot. It's this part I'm going to be putting into here that I've got to be careful of. I want to grab a part of it where I'm not going to be bending the keys. And I'm going to carefully, again, with a little bit of a twisting motion and pushing it together, very, very gently, pushing it in so that it goes together. Now, Look at, we've got a lot of keys here. We've got this long bar I see. And this one here, oh wow, this has got some keys and it's also got a long bar. A lot of people see that and say, oh wow, maybe I'll line up the long bars together and maybe that will look nice. No, that's not correct. Oh, look at this, maybe I'll line up the keys so that the keys all look pretty and they're lined up nice. Also not correct. The secret here is this bar on the foot joint, the little small bar. You're going to try to line that bar up with the center of the keys. Kind of like we lined up the center of the keys with what? With the tone hole before. Well, the center of the keys this time lines up with this long bar. So I'll look at it very carefully. I'll line it up just right. Notice I'm not touching any keys to do it. And you look very carefully now. Going up the center of the keys, right up that long, the smaller bar is this one. And that lines up with the center of the keys. Looking again this way, look at the center of the keys, and it lines up with the tone hole, right up to my nose. Now we're ready to play the whole entire flute. Again, which way did we say the flute has to be held? It has to be held off to our right. So I'll show you from your point of view. If you're holding your flute, it's going this way. It's going off to your right. My right hand is going to go over the flute. I come over the flute. My left hand comes under the flute this way. I don't grab it like this with two hands over. This is not how I'm going to play the flute. No. I don't take two hands under like I'm doing this kind of some sort of chin up or a chin up this way. Two hands under, also no good. My right hand, make sure you know which one is your right hand. That's going over. My left hand is coming under. So, just hold your flute like that. Have your left hand under, your right hand over, sitting up tall, 2 feet flat on the floor, edge of your chair, and you can try to get sounds with just your whole entire flute. I'm not going to press any of these keys. We don't know how any of these keys are going to be pressed yet. I'm just going to see, can I get a sound? So just hold the flute carefully here and see if you can get a sound. Still do the same thing. I feel my lip line. I keep the corners solid against my A teeth. I say 2, and I blow the air across the tone hole to see if I can get a sound on the flute. For some people, maybe that will be easier than with just a head joint. For a lot of people, that might be a little harder. It might be harder if you get a sound with the whole flute. But you practice with just the whole flute altogether. Next thing I'm going to do is I will show you where all of the fingers are going to belong. That will be our next lesson. So, we're going to look at our left hand first. And in the back, I see not a whole lot of buttons, but there's a few buttons that my fingers might go. If you touch some of them aren't even going to move. These are keys that are already down. But look at these two. These two feel like buttons that can be pressed. And yes, that is where your thumb is going to go. Now, it looks like I could push on this one here, or it looks like I could push on this little triangular looking button here. That is where the thumb belongs. My thumb is going to push that key. In fact, your thumb is almost always going to be pushing this key and staying right there. Just about always, you are never going to take that thumb off that thumb key. Now, I'll keep the thumb there, and I'll look around at the front part. Here's where I see lots of keys. Wow, let's call this the halfway point of the flute. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different keys for only 1, 2, 3, 4 different fingers. And my pinky, believe it or not, is only going to be on here sometimes. So these 3 fingers have got to go somewhere here. Here's the secret. The first key, skip it. Then the second key, that's where your first finger belongs. Next key, skip it. This is where your second finger belongs. The next key, well, that's the last one left on the top half of the flute. That's where my third finger is going to belong. So 1, 2, 3 belong on those 3 keys. So look again, if you're holding your flute up like this, take your pointer finger and it's going to go where? First one? No. Right here on the second one. Where does my thumb belong? On that biggest part of the thumb key. Alright, first finger on that second key. Second finger, what did I say? The very next key? No, I skip a key there too. So I skip a key, there it is. I skip a key, There it is. The third finger doesn't really have any choice. It's going to click on that very next key. So 1, 2, 3. And I will call those 1, 2, 3. If I say put your left hand and push down only 1, that's going to be only 1. Oh, push down 1 and 2. 1 and 2. What if I say in your left hand push down 1, 2, and 3? 1, 2, and 3. All three of those keys are pushed. I'm not going to go 1, 2, 3 and leave these fingers in the air. 1, 2, 3. Those are the three fingers I want you to use in your left hand. That's going to be holding up a lot of the weight of your flute. The thumb and these three fingers, that's going to be your whole left hand. This hand, your right hand. This one, count from the bottom. Well, we've got all these keys down here in the foot joint, but I don't even want you to worry about those. Your right hand is going to belong on the main body, and you're looking at the last three keys. The last three keys are the three keys for your right hand. 1, 2, 3. Those last three keys, that's pretty easy. You just don't worry about these two. You just go to the last three keys of the body, and 1, 2, 3, that's where they belong. That only leaves our pinkies and this other thumb. The pinky in your left hand, I just don't want you to worry about. Maybe in a few months from now, I'll teach you how to use this note, and we will use this little side key. The right hand, 1, 2, 3, and your pinky key, that is going to be very important. This very, very first key that you reach on the foot joint is where your pinky belongs. And this pinky key will almost always, always, always be pushing that key down. Almost always down on your pinky. And what was the other one I said is almost always down? Almost always down is your thumb. Okay? So top hand, my left hand, skip a key, third finger. My right hand, I've got the last three keys I look for. 1, 2, 3. So this will be 1, 2, 3 for left hand, and 1, 2, 3 in the right hand. Uh-oh, what about this? Yes, your pinky key is always down. The only thing I haven't told you then is your thumb key. And if you look, not your thumb key, but your thumb in your right hand. And if you could look at where my thumb is right now, this is super important. A lot of bad flute players, this is one of the #1 mistakes they make, is they'll put their thumb over here, or they'll put their thumb over here, or they'll put their thumb over here. No. They put their thumb in all kinds of places except for the right place. One of my fingers is directly opposite of my thumb. Can you figure out which one it is? My thumb's not way over here. No, it's not here. No, it's right opposite this first finger. That's very, very important. Whenever you get to put your right hand on, you should always be looking at that first finger and your thumb being opposite from one another. Those two should be opposites. Okay? Your middle finger here, your third finger there. So 1, 2, 3, and your pinky key. Your thumb is opposite that first finger. Up top, 1, 2, 3. Notice the ones I'm skipping. And your thumb key. Your thumb key will always be down. Alright? So, now I've got the whole flute with all of my fingers. And sometimes I'm going to ask you in class, show me every finger on your flute. If I do, I want to see you go 1, 2, 3, skipping those keys there. I want to see your thumb on, and I want to see in the bottom 1, 2, 3, the very last three keys, your pinky. I want to see your thumb opposite your first finger, and I want to see this thumb hitting the right key. That will be your position if I say show me all of your fingers. Now, it is a note, but we're not going to be playing that note. It's a very hard note to play. Watch the notes we're going to play today. I'm going to take in my right hand, only put down my first finger. In my left hand, same thing. I'm only going to put down my first finger. 1 and 1. We're going to call that 1 and 1. This is actually our first note we're going to need, and it's called B flat. We'll learn how to read that in our book, B flat. If you can do B flat, you're going to be doing great. Look at my look at my other fingers, the ones that are not pushing the keys though. Where are they? They're just touching just on the keys. They're not pushing the keys down, but they're right there. They're ready to go. They're ready to push the keys down when I need them. That's also so important. Okay? What I don't want to see is people like this. Yeah, people, having their fingers like this, trying to play B flat. Okay, 1 and 1, keep your other fingers right here. That's what we need. If you can do that, we're going to be doing great. If you want to experiment with a couple more notes, I'll show you 2 more notes, well, 3 more notes that you can experiment with. B flat is this 1 and 1. Let's take that finger off if you can. It's a little hard to balance now, but if you can just have only this first finger down, and then 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3. So only in the left hand. The right hand, I'm only pushing this pinky. Only in the left hand, I'm going to go 1, and then 2, and then 3. Oh, what did that sound like? It sounded like mi, re, do, just like your recorder. In fact, those are the exact same notes as your recorder. Mi, re, do, mi, re, do, 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 re, 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 mi, re, do. You could even play hot cross buns if you can get good enough at that. Wow, if you could come back playing mi, re, do, playing B flat with 1 and 1. I'll be very impressed. Alright, so that's enough for our first couple lessons. It'll take us a couple lessons to get that far. I'm ready to put my flute away. Well, putting my flute away, I have to be just as careful as when I'm putting it together. I don't want to just start grabbing the keys and twisting, and then I'm going to end up bending these very, very delicate keys. I'm going to grab up here in this solid part. I'm going to grab down here where I'm not going to bend any keys, and again I'll twist, 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 and pull a little bit until it comes out. Okay? So gently I need to be with my flute, taking it apart. I could put the foot joint. Oh, I'm going to put the foot joint away, but first, before I do that, I'm going to set the rest of my flute carefully down on my case, and I'm going to get out that tuning rod with the cleaning cloth that comes with it. I'm going to set this down too, just to show you, and be careful. You see it's already threaded here. Yours might not be. Maybe you've got a cloth and maybe you've got this tuning rod. And it is a tuning rod. When you get to maybe 9th grade, somebody will show you why it's the tuning rod. We're not going to worry about tuning this year. A lot of people call it the cleaning rod because that's what we're going to use it for. We're going to use it for cleaning. We're going to thread, just like threading a needle again. We're going to thread this through the eye of the tuning rod and tuck it through. Now, that's not quite good enough. I'm not going to just take my foot joint and stick this through and run it through and clean it like that, because look at the end of this. Very, very sharp metal pieces here. I don't want them to be on the inside of the flute and scratching the inside of the flute. So you want to be careful when you put the cloth through. I'm going to cover now. I'm going to take a little piece of the cloth and cover that. Look at that. You can't even see the metal now. I could feel it, but you can't see it. Now I'm ready to run this through the foot joint. I'll take the foot joint, I'll carefully put this in, and just run it through. Look at that, that's already enough. I don't have to go all the way through it. I can pull it out, that's all I need. Gets rid of the moisture on the inside of your flute. Now I can carefully put the foot joint away. It only goes one way in your case. Ask your parents to help you to figure it out. If it doesn't go in very easily, if it doesn't feel like you're doing it perfectly right, try the other way. And if you're having trouble, ask your parents to help you, because it only goes one way. All right? So let's carefully take apart the next pieces. I'll take the head joint off the body. Again, look at how careful I'm being, twisting back and forth and pulling carefully. All right? Let's set the body down. And I'll take care of the head joint next. Again, I want to make sure that the metal is covered. I don't want the metal to scrape up the inside of my flute. I'll carefully push it in here. And we give it one little twist. This can't go all the way through because of the top here. I'll give it a little spin around, get rid of any moisture inside my head joint. I want to keep my flute nice so it will last for many years. I put that carefully away. Take out the body of my joint. The body of the flute, And again, I'm going to run this through. This I can run, I'll put it halfway through this side if I want. Put it halfway through the other side. And that's all I need. I don't have to go through the whole entire flute, as long as I know that the inside has been touched by the tuning rod and with the cloth. Okay, I want the moisture to be gone. Alright. Just carefully put the body away. That's only going to go one way. And you can leave this out to dry. And after it dries, you can then put it away. I'll just put it away for now. Put it in your case. Close it up. Don't forget to latch it. You don't want somebody to come pick it up and your flute comes flying out because you forgot to latch it. Latch your flute. Put it away for the next day. Practicing should be maybe 10 minutes at this point in time. We don't know lots of notes yet. We don't know a lot of things to do. When you're working with just the head joint, practice for 5 minutes and put it away for the next day. Next day, practice for another 5 minutes. When you can put the whole flute together, maybe go 10 minutes at first until we learn some music notes. Once we learn some music notes, well, then practicing will be 15 to 20 minutes, and that will be great if you can do that every day. All right, that's our first start with flute. Nice job.